Hello and welcome to Fulhamish's preview of the Southampton game on Boxing Day. My name is Jack Collins and I'll be your host today. And joining me is my friend and Southampton programme writer, Mr. Sam Tighe. Sam, how are you, mate?
I'm good, but, as a Southampton employee part-time, I need to pull you up on the use of the word programme. Officially at the club, it's called the Matchday Magazine, Jack, and you should know that because you just said that we're friends.
Yeah, I should know that. But unfortunately, here we are. And then this is the season. Look, Southampton are doing unprecedentedly well. And you did predict this before the season. But I mean, what's the secret? What's the secret sauce?
Oh, it's basically it's the manager. I mean, we've actually just come off a weekend in which we've been talking about how someone like Marcelo Bielsa, although they obviously lost 6-2, the secret behind his success and Leeds' rise is this expansive style of football that he coaches and how he gets much more out of individual players via a superior system than he would otherwise. And you've got so many players in that Leeds team that were like mid-table championship players, Stuart Dallas, Luke Ayling, guys that if they paid for any other manager, they wouldn't be anywhere near as good, frankly. And Hasenhüttl and Southampton is pretty much the same scenario. They play a very quirky, very interesting, quite unique style of football. It is, of course, gegenpressing 4-4-2, high energy, high octane. It is that kind of Jurgen Klopp's younger brother. But ultimately, it is its own twist as well. And they are so in sync now with what their manager wants after, just over 2 years in the job, that they understand their roles and responsibilities. And some of the football is just automatic. And that is why they're so good. It's because they're so well conditioned and they are playing to a greater level than they're really able to individually because the manager has coached them so particularly well.
So two big losses in that kind of regard, in that Danny Ings appears to be injured and we don't think we're going to see him feature. And perhaps, maybe weirdly, more importantly, which sounds like a mad thing to say against a man who scores so many goals, but kind of a key to the Saints engine room and the real reason that Pierre-Emile Højbjerg hasn't been hugely missed this season. Oriol Romeu has been excellent and he's suspended. How big a blow will that be?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think we'd be in this position, to be honest with you. I mean, I was looking at the central midfield slot next to James Ward-Prowse in the summer and thinking Southampton could do with an upgrade on Romeu here. They could do with getting someone better than Romeu. They need to do that if they want to look at a Europa League charge. So to see Romeu just step in and perform above and beyond expectations, this is the best football I think I've ever seen Oriol Romeu play. He and James Ward-Prowse have started all 14 league games together so far. They haven't skipped a beat. So this is the first time this season with Southampton in this kind of ascendancy, we're going to see the central midfield duo changed. So it is going to be quite an important yardstick as to what happens. It may well highlight just how important Oriol Romeu is. It may prove that someone like Ibrahima Diallo, who was signed in the summer as the depth option, is ready for that step up. We'll have to see. We have seen Diallo so infrequently, like 15 minutes off the bench here, 10 minutes there. He played left back for 10 minutes at one point. He is a central midfielder, and he's a good all-action central midfielder, I think. We just haven't seen this partnership yet. So, yeah, we've already missed Danny Ings for about a month or so. Basically, the entirety of November, Southampton were lacking him, and what did they do to cope? Well, Theo Walcott stepped in. Djenepo came in on the left. Redmond chipped in with the goals. Walcott and Adams was a really nice give-and-go partnership. And Walcott's an intelligent footballer, probably more intelligent than you give him credit for. So he came in. He understood the system. In fact, I've never seen a player grasp Ralph's system as quickly as Theo Walcott has, which is the highest compliment I can pay him. And he stepped in and played with Adams really well. So you are right in saying that despite Ings being probably the best player on this team, pound for pound, they'll miss Romeu more because of the familiarity.
Yeah, I mean, a big step up here for Diallo because, he's had a couple of games and he hasn't had too many minutes, shall we say. I think something like 22 odd minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
He's come on. But he played a fair amount in Ligue 1 last year for Brest, and he really did shine in that system. And there were a couple of suitors for his services, and Southampton won that race. And I think a lot of people expected him to come in and really push Romeu a bit more. And so I suppose an opportunity for him as much as anything else.
I guess so. I mean, this is assuming it is in fact Diallo playing, because you never quite know with Ralph and what he sees. And obviously, we saw towards the end of last season, we saw players like Will Smallbone step up from the academy and play. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be Smallbone, but also he can just pluck a name out of somewhere. And you never know. Stuart Armstrong might might move into the centre a little bit and play next to Ward-Prowse. Although I would imagine that probably puts too much of a leash on what Armstrong can do in terms of drifting in from that right side, playing in the half space, and really committing markers into difficult situations. Armstrong's ghosting movements are really his strongest trait in this Southampton team, along with the fact that he can produce in front of goal as well. So to put him into the centre, I'm not sure that's the answer. So I think it's going to be Diallo. And it is a huge opportunity for him. It's a chance for him to show us what he can do. What I saw at Brest was someone who is pretty all action, very fast for a centre mid, which was a bit strange. Very, very fast, but a nice soft touch, good passing range, good tracking runners, a disciplined and sensible player. So let's see what he's capable of, I guess, is the answer.
Fulham have improved in the last couple of games. I think that's fair for anyone to say. And I think given the opening to the season we had against Arsenal and Villa, and where it all looked a little bit dire straits to begin with, it's been a huge relief in some ways over the last few games to see Fulham's improved performances. How can Fulham hurt this Southampton side?
Yeah, it's been a relief because I have to spend quite a lot of time with you, and you were absolutely miserable for like a month. So it's been quite nice to see Fulham step it up a little bit. Thank you very much to Andre, Frank, Zambo and Gisa. And thank you very much to Joachim Andersen for stepping it up and making my friend Jack just a little bit happier, and therefore making my week just a little bit easier. The truth is, it's quite difficult to get at this Southampton side in any one particular way. But what they do seem to do, and there's no real consistency to this. I'm not saying that there's a particular weakness on the left or the right, or they struggle from set pieces. I can't really tell you a specific area in which they struggle. But what I can tell you is they don't really keep many clean sheets, and they tend to give you a goal. Now, the problem Southampton probably have the most is they start really strong. They start so strong, and they try and take an assertive grip on the game. They try to get an early goal. And what they're struggling with at the moment is once they go 1-up, they've got a case of the Man City jitters to a point. It's when they go 1-up, they go, okay, we need to get the second goal really quick. We need to kill this game off. And they're not quite that, blunt force trauma attack that you would actually ask for, really, to be able to just go, right, 1, 2, 3, done, and you're out, and kill the game. They can't seem to do that. And they get a little bit nervous when they're 1-0 up and they're in the ascendancy and they know they should be killing the game. And what they've been tending to do is they've been giving teams an avenue back into the game. They beat Sheffield United 3-0, but they went 1-up and they wobbled a little bit. And Sheffield United had a couple of chances and they had the opportunity. It was about a 15-minute window to take advantage of that and get back in the game. And then you don't know what's coming. Arsenal was the same. They took the lead. They looked so much better. Had this little wobble. Arsenal got back in the game and they only drew 1-1. And they're disappointed to draw that game. But really, they're just playing against themselves mentally here.
Sorry. Tells as much about how Arsenal have fallen as it does about how Southampton have ascended.
I mean, massively, yeah. As definitely a tale of two different clubs there, but they seem to be playing against themselves mentally when they take a 1-goal lead at this point. And they take 1-goal leads pretty damn regularly at the moment. They're a very good side and they have to be treated as such. They just have to remain calm and steel themselves and manage games a little bit better. And they do tend to just give you that 15-minute window, and that's where a team pounces.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's obviously a big miss of Fulham in that Mario Lemina won't be able to play against his parent club, because in the last few games we've seen him hugely step up. This was a transfer that surprised a lot of people, right? It was kind of thrown in as almost like a freebie with the Harrison Reed deal, which everyone was expecting to go through, and then suddenly Fulham had signed Mario Lemina as well. He's a player who has been up and down, and his Southampton career was kind of not marred, I would say, but was riddled with inconsistency. And that some games he looked like a world beater, and others he didn't look like he was interested. But it's a fresh start for him, and he seems to have pounced on that.
Well, good for him. I mean, I don't think Saints knew what to do with him, really. If you look at his raw traits, that physicality and that box-to-box nature of his, and he's got that explosiveness to his game as well when he skips out of a challenge and goes. I've accused him of playing, almost to build his own highlights reel after the game. Because he does do that, doesn't he? He posts his own YouTube videos of his fantastic turns and win and swirls and tornadoes. And I did once think that he was more interested in the compilation video afterwards than the actual performance itself. That's maybe a little bit harsh, but that's kind of where we got to him, in terms of judging him, because he wasn't consistent at all, and he did look pretty disinterested at times. But he's very talented. Like, you don't end up on the books of Juventus if you're not very, very good at football. And it doesn't always click for players 100% all the time mentally. And maybe, he must be like 27 now. Lemina finally mentally is kind of clicking into gear a little bit. And if that ever happens, if he finds consistency, we're all in trouble, because he's actually probably got more natural talent than most of the players on both of these teams combined.
Yeah. I mean, all Andre Frank, Zambo, and Gisa aside, you'd assume. I mean, I'll let you go, Sam. But just to finish this off, how do you see this one shaking out?
Well, Southampton are very, very difficult to beat. So I'm afraid I'm not going to pander to the audience and come and be like, Fulham can get something out of this game. I mean, maybe they can get a point, but I think Southampton will win it. I do. I think they'll put enough pressure on, and they'll play with such an intensity that they will end up winning this game. I apologise, Jackal, but I'm going to go for 2-1 to Saints. What do you think?
I think this will be a draw to continue Fulham's excellent run of draws. I'm going to go 1-1. But I'm actually potentially most interested in the head-to-head between two big Danish centre-backs. Now that Jurgen card has been rescinded, he will finally get to play against his countryman Yannick Vestergaard, and in that I'm excited to watch them go toe to toe, if you will. Although probably tete-a-tete is a more regular comparison, especially at set pieces.
Yeah, but only at set pieces, I'd imagine. But Vestergaard, just one of the true positive stories from Southampton, a coaching success story. If anybody claims to have seen this coming from Vestergaard, I will show you a liar, because for 3 years he's been rubbish, and yet this season he looks like Danish Maldini. I don't get it. The raking passes, the vision, the two-footedness, the defensive astuteness, the last-ditch tackles, the covering the channels. I don't know where it's come from, but he has been so good. And those James Ward-Prowse set pieces, guys, if I just give you one piece of advice, do not give away free kicks within 35 yards of goal. They are basically penalties to Southampton, so be careful.
We've got a terrible penalty record ourselves, so we'll bear that one in mind. Thank you, Sam, for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. And you can catch more of Sam at a little podcast called Ranks FC, where he does all of his best work.
I don't think I have to pimp that one. I'm sure you do enough of it on Fulhamish.
Here and there. Thank you for listening. We hope that you have an incredibly lovely Christmas, and that the game on Boxing Day pans out in the antithesis of what Sam says. Let's hope for 3 points for them Whites. Take it easy. Goodbye. Enjoy Christmas and enjoy Boxing Day. Bye-bye.